So today I'm going to talk about some Shadowdark, or specifically third-party content for Shadowdark. What you see here is Shadowfinder, or the Bestiary. So Menagerie Press has released a Bestiary that combines the first six, or all six, of the Bestiary books from Pathfinder 1 and have converted them into Shadowdark. This document is insanely long. It has got probably over 500 pages. Yeah, you can't quite see where my head is. It's 522 pages of PDF. I'm just going to scroll through here so you can kind of see the table of contents. I think somebody counted it up, and it's close to 1,800 creatures that are in this bestiary. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what I'm going to do with this many creatures. I'm never going to use them all, but you can just see it keeps going and going. Now, the question is, are they any good? Well, I haven't used very many of them yet. I've got a Shadowdark game that has started up. It's only had one session, so I will be getting more into them. But a few things I can tell you about it from just looking through this document quickly. One, and I'm very grateful that these are linkable, so if you click on something, you go straight to the page. I wish there was a quick way to get back to the top, but I don't know really how you would do that in a PDF unless every page had a link to the top, and that would be a pain in the butt to put in. So, a few things I've noticed. If the creature existed in Shadowdark prior to this document being created, the guy that made it pretty much added those in here as is from the Shadowdark Monster Manual. I've compared several of them. They seem to be exactly the same if there was one in the Shadowdark book and one in Pathfinder. So he did not restat or give new abilities to pre-existing things. Let's see if I can bring up something that would show that quickly. I think goblins. Goblins are always a good choice to start with. Where are we? I don't know my alphabet. All right. Gnolls, golems, goblin. Okay, there we go. Goblin. So goblins, they have same stats as they do in Shadowdark, same ability, can't be surprised. Goblin boss is the same. And he's added in, obviously, the Goblin Monkey, Goblin Troop. The Shaman, I believe, is exactly the same as before. So he's taken what's there and just expanded on it with the content from Pathfinder 1. Now, a few things you'll notice, like here with Goblin. Goblin's at the bottom of this column, and it finishes at the top of the next column. It's a formatting thing. They do have those issues in this book. It's not really a deal breaker by any means. It's just so much content. If he tried to space it out to where it looked correct on every page, this 500-page document could probably easily be 750 pages if all of that was taken care of. So yes, some things are split across columns. Some things are split across pages. But overall, not a big issue. One thing that annoys me just a little bit, and this has nothing to do with the creator of this document and everything to do with the creators of Pathfinder. I have no idea what the vast majority of the things in this book are. I would have to go and look them up on Archives of Nethys if I wanted to see what images of them are. If none of you are familiar, Archives of Nethys is the Pathfinder 1 and 2 rules that are online for anyone to look at. A lot of it has art and imagery with it. So if you're getting into Pathfinder, good location to go to figure out what you need to do, the rules for the game. But there is no art in this book, and same reason, two reasons for that. One, art's really expensive to commission, and two, it's have 520 pages. Again, it's going to balloon up a couple hundred pages if we have art for some of these things, because you're just going to be taking up page, half a page, quarter of a page with art, and things just get spread out. So no art in this book. It would be nice if I could see what some of these things are. Like, I don't know what a Capri is. No idea. If I had a picture of it, it would help, but it's not necessary. The thing is, let's see. I can click on it. What is this? Ogre-sized pale green vines with 4 eyes. So there are descriptions for them. Descriptions help. What I've been doing with it is doing a Control F and just bringing up a search box. And if I'm looking for something, I search for giant. Just see how many giants there are in here. And I can just zip through the document this way. And while I might bring up Giant Leech, I can also bring up things that are in the description box so I can kind of get an idea of what I'm looking for. Ogre, green aquatic ogres. So yeah, I didn't know that this was an ogre thing. It's a marrow. It's a big, yep, merfolk kind of, but I now know more about it. So that's how I've been using it, is to search through the descriptions with the find box to see what is in here, because these names, because of the way Pathfinder names things, and there's so much content in Pathfinder 1, that they just had to start creating more new names and borrowing from different folklores and things like that. And there's a lot of stuff I haven't heard of. I mean, I've heard of Naga, however, some of these are not as intuitive what they may be. But yeah, the descriptions here, they help a lot. Looking them up on Archives of Nethys for images helps even more. A few things I want to point out. He did point out the Shadowdark dragons separately, so these are all the core ones that were, at least, I say core ones. Some of these don't ring a bell to me, but definitely these first 4 here are, the 6, I mean, those are Shadowdark base. Other than that, he did, as he was giving them abilities, let me see if I can bring up one here. Like this Jungle Bat Ape, this Ahul. This ability, savage limbs of, you savage the limbs of the target, they make a con 15 plus, so he's changed con check of 15 or more to just 15 plus, just for shorten it. But a lot of these creatures have abilities that do stat damage. So 1d6 dex damage. If you get to 0, you're immobilized. In Shadowdark, your stats come back when you can rest, if you successfully rest. So he's leaned heavily into the stat damage for creatures to just kind of, I think, break up the sameness of everything just does health damage, health damage. So you do see a lot of stat damage in these creatures, from what I can tell by moving through here. Whatever this, Alep, Wraithlight Purple Spirit. Target takes 1d6 wisdom damage. On a critical hit, they lose it permanently. It regains HP per wisdom point inflicted, and the character is permanently insane if they get to wisdom 0. So abilities like this, attacking the stats, that gives 6 extra things you can attack rather than HP. One thing Shadowdark did need was a little bit of variety. I know why it's not in there. It's for simplicity and quickness of play, but I'm looking at a conversion for Pathfinder into Shadowdark. I do like a little bit of crunch in the games I play. So I appreciate that these things are in here. As far as are these things balanced, well, I have no idea, because OSR games, Shadowdark and things like that, they don't really care about balance a whole lot. They care about run if it's scary, fight it if you feel good, and if you die, you knew the risks, and that's kind of how the game works. So is it balanced? I think it is. I've looked through the stats. I think they line up closely with how the Shadowdark core book explains how you should be making creatures. I found 1 or 2 that seemed to be skewed, but I think it's okay, because if you just skew one stat, I think it was an ogre goblin or something like that, it had the AC and the HP of a 3rd level creature, as Shadowdark said, or the Shadowdark core book said, but instead of +2 to hit, it was +5 to hit with like a 2d10 damage. It was an insane amount of damage, but it had the stats of AC and HP for the creature of that level. And I think it's fine to have ones that stand out like that. There's a whole thing in the rulebook about how to mutate creatures to make them less boring. So I think overall these do line up very well. There's another one that's split between 2 pages, but once again, it's pretty easy to find what you're looking for. But yeah, these work pretty well. And close to 1,800 choices, even if I don't know what they all are, if I can search for something that just kind of fits what I'm looking for, I don't have to build stat blocks. Are these easy to build? Yeah, they're fairly easy to build. Shadowdark's pretty intuitive. You get HP equal to, at level 1 you get 4, at level 2 you get 5, it goes 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, and you tack on whatever their constitution modifier is on top of that number, and you get their HP. The stats, pretty easy to come by, but I don't want to have to make all of these. Mostly what I'm concerned with are the abilities the creatures have, because vanilla creatures, they're not that fun to me. I like them to have a little bit of something. Crusader, smites once per day. Crone Queen, that's 5 abilities I can work with. Crocodile, vanilla creature, but should it have an ability? I mean, it is just a crocodile. Giant, dire crocodile swallows. That makes sense. So is this worth the money? At $30, it's pretty steep. I think it would have been better buy at 20, but I appreciate just the sheer amount of effort that the creator put into this. So for me, yeah, it was worth the $30 buy. I almost bought it in print. I realized how long it was, and I figured I'm not sure I want a 500-page A5 bound book in print. That would have just been, I think, unwieldy. So yeah, it's I think for the price and the amount of stuff that's in it, it's worth it. I'm a little on the cheap side. I always like things a little bit cheaper, but I also like supporting people that are making third-party stuff. I think this is the third Kickstarter. I didn't buy this on Kickstarter. I got this one from Draft2RPG. I'm doing a Kickstarter for the class conversions for Pathfinder. So Shadowfinder is doing a player's handbook with the classes from Pathfinder 1. And I'm in that Kickstarter and 2 other Kickstarters for Shadowdark. So I don't mind doing paying money for third-party creators to add to things, especially if I think they're good quality. And this one, I think the quality's there. So if anybody needs more beasts for Shadowdark, this is definitely the one to go with.